What's up? What's up? What's up? This is Merrick representing the Hustlenomics podcast. This is episode number 6. What's up, Terrence?
What's up? What's up, Merrick, man? How you living, man?
Incredible. And
Yes,
today we
let's
got
do
an
it.
incredible guest. His name's Justin Theory. Not only is he a successful Airbnb-er, I've known him since high school. So, Justin.
Yes, sir.
We're gonna break into it. Tell us, how did you get started investing in real estate, man?
How did I get started investing in real estate? It's something that I always wanted to do. So, honestly, when I got out of college, I didn't have a job. I was driving Uber, and one night, well, let me say Lyft, right? Because it was the bougie Uber.
Right.
And I picked up a guy on his way to the airport, and as an Uber Lyft driver, you have a conversation with your passenger, and he asked me, what I wanted to do in life, and I said, hopefully one day I own 10 rental properties. He was like, oh, well, I manage 50 Airbnb properties. So from there, I was like, all right, we got to have a conversation. And he kind of broke down the game to me and helped me get started.
What did he tell you? What that got you intrigued from that conversation, like a high level? Or was it in depth? How in depth, I guess?
Well, that first conversation wasn't that in depth, but he has a YouTube channel, and he gives out tons of free game on his YouTube channel, and he even has a course. But honestly, you don't need the course. You can follow his YouTube channel, take all that, breathe some life into it, use your own intuition, and you really just gotta jump and give it a try.
Yeah. So what was it? So let's go ahead and get into the Airbnb game. What you learned from that conversation after he said, hey, I invest in real estate, but I do it this way. Mm-hmm. I do Airbnbs. Like, what got you hooked on Airbnbs? What was the selling point?
So I would say the Airbnbs versus traditional rentals, the benefit is cash flow.
Got you.
So on a traditional rental, you'll probably have, $200 to $400 a month cash flow. Fingers crossed, right?
Right.
Airbnb, on your worst month, you
Sometimes 500.
Lucky man.
Shout out to Mary.
Lucky man.
On your Airbnbs, though, there have been months where my profit was $2,000.
Wow.
That's incredible.
Yeah. So,
Your profit, not just your revenue. Your profit was 2,000. Okay, so tell us, how did you do that? Like,
because I'm sure it's like Instagram. You didn't go from 10 followers to 100, 1,000, 100,000 followers. You had to build up your repertoire for your Airbnb portfolio to be like attractive. Or as soon as you put it on the platform, bam, you off to the races.
It was pretty much like that. So Airbnb, first of all, Airbnb as a platform for all new hosts, if you just starting, they are going to boost your listing for the first 3 months.
Okay.
Got you.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. So when you hop on, you brand new, you have no reviews, they're going to help you out. So for, I think it's either a month or 3 months, your listing is going to be like first page SEO ranking, because they want to help you get established and get your reviews and kind of see what type of property that you're putting on the market. After those 3 months, then your reviews will carry you the rest of the way.
That's fair. So how now that you've been on the platform, how long have you been on there?
Started listing in September 2020.
So you got experience.
Yeah, that's
like
almost,
2 years.
Yeah, we hit almost at 2 years.
What is it? 2 more months? 1 more month? We're in August now. 1 more month should be 2 years in the game. So 2 years out of those 2 years, has it been consistent? What's been your trials and tribulations? I guess one start, has it been consistent? And what has been your pitfalls, I guess, in a way?
So, I mean, obviously 2020 was the year of the
pandemic.
Right. So that came with a lot of trials and tribulations outside of just real estate, right? We all had different things we were dealing with. I myself, it's all about risk and reward. Mm-hmm. My risk with the Airbnb game was always, so back it up a little bit. My mentor does arbitrage.
Okay.
Where
break it down if people don't know what arbitrage is.
Arbitrage is simply taking something and selling it for more.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
So
right.
if you were to rent an apartment and your monthly rent is $1,000, that's a traditional rent on a year-long lease.
Right.
He'll take that apartment and he'll list it for $200 a night.
Gotcha.
And off of that $200 a night, if you're 60% occupied, you're bringing in well over $1,000.
I get what you're saying.
Right. Right. Right.
So he does that on a very, very large scale.
Damn.
I buy property. So for arbitrage, the reason he told me that he does arbitrage is because it is much lower cost to entry. For example, to furnish a 1-bedroom apartment costs a couple thousand.
Right. Right.
To furnish a house
Yeah.
that's worthy of being put on Airbnb, you got 3 bedrooms, bathrooms, lawn care, all the extra.
So the cost, like the barrier to entry when it comes to houses is higher than apartments.
Way higher.
But you're doing houses, but you obviously are seeing success with houses. So
Yeah.
why are you continuing using houses?
For the real estate value, right?
Yeah. The equity.
Exactly.
The equity. And
right?
the debt pay down.
Exactly.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So you could do arbitrage, but the thing about arbitrage is that, I can go get an apartment for $1,000 after cleaning fees, all utilities and expenses. I might pocket $800 a month, but to really see profit from that, because the only benefit you're getting from arbitrage is the cash flow profit. If I do a house, not only will I get the cash flow profit, but I will get the equity, the debt pay down, and taxes.
That makes sense.
Right.
It's just a different way to go about doing it.
Mm-hmm.
But your way, you're going to have equity. You're going to get your mortgage pay down,
Yep.
tax benefits at the end of the year.
Yep.
And eventually, over 30 years, when you do Airbnb, you'll own the property free and clear.
Mm-hmm.
And you're going to be making a way superior profit to me.
That
And
makes
I
sense.
just,
Yeah.
man, that's awesome, man.
Absolutely. So that's the difference between arbitrage. And also with arbitrage, you have to, like I said, because that is your only benefit, it really only behooves you if you're doing it at a large scale or in bulk.
Yeah.
So if it depends on how you want to work. If you want to manage 50 doors, then yeah, you should definitely go the arbitrage route. But if you want to make, that same profit with less doors, then I would say go the buying route. Now, it's going to take you more money to get into a property, but that property has much more benefits to it if you're a little bit more patient.
Okay.
Right. What's the barrier to entry to do arbitrage? Because not a lot of apartment complex. Do you know much about it? Not a lot of apartment complexes allow you to do that. I definitely was in my lease. So
Yeah.
how did your mentor get around that?
So that is when you're doing arbitrage, it's just like anything else. You have to find somebody to partner with, and it has to make sense.
Right.
So if I'm a landlord, right? We're all landlords.
Okay.
And you have a property, could be a house, could be an apartment, whatever. You have a property that your last tenants just destroyed, right? Your last tenants destroyed that property. Now it's vacant, and you're like, I don't want any more headaches.
Yeah.
And I want to make sure that this rent is paid every month, and I want the property to stay in ready-to-rent condition.
Okay.
As an Airbnb host, I come to you and I say, hey, I can guarantee you that I will pay you your rent on time every month. And I will absolutely guarantee you that I will keep the property in ready-to-rent condition. As a matter of fact, I'm going to sign a 4-year-long lease and guarantee that.
Yeah, I love you.
Exactly. So when you have a landlord that has, these pain points and you can answer those pain points, why wouldn't you do it?
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Because I have to keep the property in ready-to-rent condition because no one's going to Airbnb for me if it's not a nice property.
Right.
And my profit depends on my research because he's getting paid first.
Right.
And my profit comes on the back end of that.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's answering a lot of questions because it's like,
I think a lot of landlords would definitely go for something like that.
Yeah,
4 years guaranteed rent, and it's cool.
4 years is,
Oh All right, fine. 2
Situational.
years. Let's say 2 years.
2 years. Yeah.
2 years guaranteed rent. You're making your profit, but you have a stable tenant, and that tenant's not just depending on the job. That tenant's depending on people coming in, paying money every single
And we're gonna
week.
clean for you.
Oh yeah, that's a great business model.
So question with Airbnb. Do you think you can get an Airbnb in different parts of the city and still be successful? Or, and you know, we could talk about Houston, but then if you got any experience with other cities, what are your thoughts about, you know, the likelihood of, you know, staying rented out, or, you know, talk about some of the numbers of location and then, like, you know, days that it's rented out. You know, how do you find that threshold? Because I mean, I get a property, I'll be worried. Like, is it gonna stay rented? Is it gonna stay rented? Are they gonna like it? Are people gonna be in this place often? You know, so how do you overcome that fear? Or like, how do you do the research to figure out that?
So I think in any industry, you have to pay attention to your competition. So what I would do is I would look at the other properties in the area, and I would say, what are they charging per night?
Got you.
Okay, they're charging X amount of dollars per night. How many nights out of the month are they booked for this month? How many nights out of the month are they booked for the next 2 months?
Got you. Airbnb tells you this?
You have to go look. You can look at you can go in as a customer and say, hey, my name is Justin. I want to stay in Houston 2 months out. See the properties that are available. See what their calendar looks like. And you can do that as you're searching.
Got you. Just
as a consumer.
Yeah, got you.
And you can just see what their calendar looks like and what they're charging. And then as you're doing that search, you see what the most successful properties look like, what the most successful properties are charging, what the most successful properties have in their reviews. And you say, okay, I see what they're doing. Can I do that? And can I do that better?
Got you. Got you.
Are they optimizing here? You know? And once you have that kind of figured out, you look at what your potential property would be, what your mortgage or rent, if you're doing arbitrage, is going to be, what your utilities are going to be, and you say, with this being my average daily rate, that's a Airbnb metric.
Right.
Average daily rate, we'll just say 150. If my average daily rate is 150 and I'm occupied, worst case scenario, half the month, which is 15 days,
right,
can I afford my utilities and my mortgage? The answer is yes. Why not?
Let's do it.
Why not?
So how do you pick which locations that you're going to purchase a property in?
So right now it's a lot of gut feeling. I'm not going to pick a place that I would not stay in.
Okay.
First and foremost, right? You put yourself in your consumer shoes. I'm going on vacation, or I'm coming from somewhere else, or I'm going to work. I got to stay somewhere for the next 30 to 60 days as I work for X company in a new city. Would I stay here? Yeah, okay, I would. Is this going to make me happy? It's at the end of the day, it's hospitality, right?
Got you.
So it's just a way of filling a property. This is a house that we're right now, right? You could put a long-term tenant in here, but if you do a little bit more work, you can use it as a short-term rental and use it as a hospitality business. And that's the difference. A long-term rental, they're not going to pay a lot because you're not working. It's it's more passive. Airbnb, let's get that right now. Airbnb is not passive.
So you got to work.
You got to work.
So you be working.
I'm after I leave this podcast, I'm going to Home Depot.
Oh God.
I have boxes from Amazon that need to be put together. I actually, the past 2 days, I have a guest in my house right now who is not happy.
Oh, but this gentleman makes $2,000 a month profit, ladies and gentlemen. So
that's a great month. That's not every month, but that was a great month.
Okay.
What's on average?
Average 1,000.
1,000.
That's still good off one property, especially with a mortgage. When you've only owned it like a year? That's incredible.
I got it beginning of 2020, 2 months before the pandemic.
How much of your time you think you got to invest? If you want money, 1,000. If you can quantify it, how much of your time do you think you have to invest into the property?
It depends on if you have systems in place.
Got you.
So right now,
These them gems we want to hear.
Right now, I do all the communication with the guests.
Gotcha.
But I do have a cleaner.
Okay.
And the cleaners are really what make the whole operation go. If I didn't have my cleaner, I couldn't do anything.
Okay.
I'd have to go over there because it's a quick turnover time, right? If somebody's checking out at 11, I also have somebody checking in at 4. That is my window to flip the house.
Wow.
So
Man.
all the sheets, all the towels, everything has to be washed, cleaned, everything.
Hustling.
Yeah, that's incredible, man.
Right.
Yeah.
I want to know, are you going to branch into multifamily? Like, have you ever thought about doing what you're doing instead of just using single families, using multifamilies like duplexes, triplexes, fourplexes?
Absolutely. If I can get my hands on
Is it here? So right in the community I'm in right now, we got somebody that does Airbnbs for like one of these apartment buildings, and they have them over there. Have you seen a lot of those models on the platform, or do you think, you know? I'm just curious. Like, if we was to come together and say, "Hey, we got $1 million to create the best Airbnb experience ever," what would that, you know, vision be like for you? If we can find an investor, you know, we may be able to find someone we can sell on. But what would be your thoughts on that?
I would say, look at who your demographic is. Location is everything, right?
Yeah.
Who's coming to the area? How many people are coming to the area? How much competition there is in the market?
Right.
If it makes sense, the numbers match up. Let's go do it.
Hospitality wise, what do you think the consumer like? What
So-
type of experience? Does it depend on the city? What type of clients do you have coming in? Are they party goers? Are they business people?
It's a key component, right?
Yeah,
Who is your ideal guest?
right.
Right.
Oh, got you.
Who is your ideal guest? Because you don't know who's booking.
Yeah.
You have the ability, more often than not, to say yes or no,
Right.
but you don't know who it is behind that text message.
Like, for me, I check their backgrounds, I check their credit before I'm even open up the potential of letting you into my house. But can you see their background? Can you see anything?
So
Have you Googled someone? I don't know if you're supposed to say that, but yeah, how do you, yeah, this is a good question, man.
So you can't really know who the person is until after they book.
Oh,
So before they book, you can set settings on Airbnb. Like for me, they have to have phone number, email.
okay.
You can be more advanced with that. You
Yeah.
can say need ID, need background check, et cetera, because in the arbitrage world, some apartments require that.
That makes a lot of sense.
Right.
You
So
don't want
can
just
be-
anyone in your house.
You can be that detailed if you have that demand. Right.
That's the
If it's
thing.
if you're getting 10 people that want to stay at your house a month, and half of those people don't have those ID requirements, and
They're
you
out
gotta
of the
make,
game. They're out of the game.
they out of the game. But it's a lot easier to say that if you have 100 people trying to fill those 10
Right,
spots.
right.
It's like, nah, we gonna dice it up.
I get what you're
But
saying.
then
You got
now
enough.
you got more risk.
You do have more risk.
That's the thing. So
You do have
gotta
more risk.
find
It's
your
about
blend.
your risk tolerance.
But what has your experience? Have you had a nightmare? What about this tenant here that has them kind
I'll
of not
give
so
you-
happy?
I'll give you a couple stories.
All right. here we go.
Um,
We love storytelling.
So I think it's the first or second month I was live on the platform, I had a family come in. You know, they were just dirty, very, very dirty. They left food all over the fridge. They made handmade tortillas on the counter and didn't clean up after themselves.
Oh wow.
They had a special needs child that they did not clean up after,
Oh wow. I can imagine that.
and that was the first one that kind of opened my eyes to, like, okay, we got to put more rules out.
Can you build them for the cleaning?
Yes,
Okay, cool.
you can build them for the cleaning, but you have to have evidence.
Which
Right.
is a photo, right? Like
It's a photo, right?
Yeah.
So there is a lot of things. You have to have evidence of everything that
Right,
goes on
right.
for Airbnb to reimburse you.
right.
So that's one lesson.
So what happened in that situation? Did you get compensated for it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So Airbnb will take care of their super host. So if you get a lot of good reviews, so I was a new host at that time,
Right.
and then after I think 3 months of above a 4.8 8 or something like that, you become a super host.
Gotcha.
And
What's the highest the scale can go?
5.
Okay, so you're at 4.8.
Yeah.
All right, so you're pretty good.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. So that was the first horror story. The second one, it wasn't really a horror story, but as I told you before we started the podcast, people would just come in and just scraping up my walls.
Wow.
People come in with kids and luggage, and they're just rubbing up against stuff, and my walls were just being torn apart, like all over the place. Like I said, half of that is due to cheap paint, but the other half is just people
Not caring.
Yeah, it's like
At all.
I'm only here for the weekend, or
It's
I'm
not
only
my
here
house.
for the week. Exactly.
I think a lot of people do their own homes like that too, but you know, he say, she say.
Yeah. So I think at one point I had to shut down off the platform because I had to paint. So I had to close up shop, and repaint my entire house because my walls were just, they weren't gonna cut it anymore. So not too many terrible horror stories.
There's 30 people and people not really caring about your property, pretty much, right?
Yeah.
But at least you got compensated, so that's a good thing.
Yeah. Airbnb will take care of you if you take care of their guests. If you show that you care,
Right.
you know, it makes a difference. And that's really all the guests want too. Is they want to know that you care.
Right.
Like that they're not just a number or somebody who's checking in. Like, you know, the small things matter in hospitality world.
So do you give them like champagne and stuff? I've been to some Airbnbs. Are you into that, or you know?
To be honest with you, at the very first when I started,
Yeah.
we did leave out snacks and a bottle of wine.
Okay. I'm gonna say it's your Airbnb.
No, I've been to a couple. Like my guy got married and they left some champagne for him for a celebration. I thought that was nice.
Man.
Yeah, we're not doing that.
Not
days.
anymore.
Not these days.
Got my reputation.
Yeah, not. No, not even that. Not even that. It's just over time, you realize what really matters to a guest.
Right.
Am I staying in a clean house? Am I
Okay.
staying in a safe house? Is my bed comfortable? Do the TVs have my options? You know, that's the guest that I'm targeting.
Right.
There are other properties that could target a different guest. For example, my mentor, he targets business people.
Gotcha.
So he's looking for people who want studios, who are coming there just to sleep. They're not too worried about, you know, a backyard or where my kid's going to play and things of that nature.
Right.
So depending on who your audience is, you want to tailor your Airbnb experience to them.
So when you're on the platform, do you like how do you tailor your audience? Like, you know, you just create it and then they come, or do you like? I feel like that's a hard, tricky question. And then it's like, okay, you may think you built this out for this type of person, but then now you got a party goer in the house that is for a business person. You know how it's like getting a tenant and you don't know, you can't screen a tenant. So like, what's your screening process? What have you seen any patterns with that?
So it's really just paying attention to
Gotcha.
your listing and paying attention to what's going on.
You can see who you attract, I guess.
Right. See who are the guests that are giving me glowing reviews.
Gotcha.
I want more of those people.
Right.
Who are the guests who usually have an issue?
That makes sense.
Things. Okay, well, what were they looking for? Obviously, I'm not providing it now. So, do I push more in their direction to make that group of people happy, or do I continue to satisfy my 5-star review people?
Right.
And it's just a trial and error.
Got you.
You can go into it, like I said, you do your market research with other properties in the area and see kind of what they're targeting. And usually, you know, if the people who are giving those properties 5-star reviews, if you tailor your property to be like them, then you're probably going to attract the same type of people.
Got you.
But it's just market research.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's cool.
We're coming to the end. Justin, I want to know, where do you think you're going to be in 5-10 years? Like, what are your end goals with this?
End goals with real estate, I don't think there is an end goal.
Okay. I like that answer.
We'll say in 5 years, I don't want to give it a number of doors, right? Because I think that gets away from what we're really trying to do in terms of number of doors. I often think about it like that, but I would like to say systematically, I would like to be doing deals in different locations across the country.
Ooh.
I would like to have Airbnb as well as rental properties, as well as multifamily and large multifamily, so apartment buildings as part of my portfolio. A more diverse portfolio, I guess, I would say in 5 years. Yeah.
Right on. Right on.
Let's do it.
Terrence, you got anything else you want to add, brother, man?
Man, no, this is a great podcast, man. And I feel like, our channel is growing, man.
Yeah.
We want to hear from y'all. So like, comment, subscribe. Let us know what you think. What you think about Justin and his
Airbnb endeavors.
Mr. Airbnb himself, Mr. 4.8.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Mm-hmm. But Mary, go ahead, man. I love the outro, man.
Yeah. Hey, subscribe, like. This is Hustlenomics, episode 6.
Peace.
Yeah.